Today we're talking about the FlexArmor Rv roof and how much it actually weighs, not to mention some things I wish I knew, and if you're looking at adding solar, a little information about prep and also how much that weighs as well, combined with having the FlexArmor roof done. So here's what happened. A few months ago, I ended up taking my RV out on a trip, and so after this little adventure, I did come in contact with the tree, damaging the TPO liner, which then, of course, calling the insurance company and more, I had to decide what I was going to do in order to fix this. And one thing with RVs is that you know that if you have a TPO roof, those liners are so fragile that you can drop a tool on them, or you can even have a small pebble on the bottom of your shoe, and that can literally poke a small hole into that TPO liner, and now you have a leak that you have no idea that is there. So I knew I didn't want to deal with this frustration anymore, so I started looking into options. Now I pretty much looked into everything, the RV armor, having the roll-on type stuff done, not to mention just using some Turn-a-bond tape and going all the way around the edges or patching little holes that I found. And there is a problem with that as well, is that once you put down that tape, is that you may not know that there could still be moisture getting underneath there and actually causing some damage. There's been some good theories and some other videos out there that have shown now that it may not be the best idea and you could be causing damage and you don't even know it. So after debating, it seemed like the FlexArmor roof was really kind of the best option, at least for me. Now, this isn't a paid sponsorship. I paid for this fully out of pocket, and yeah, it's not exactly cheap. But again, I wanted to share my experience, and also not to mention, if you are adding solar, there's a decent amount of prep that goes in with it before you even get up there. So I'll share that as well. Okay, so before actually taking my trailer to one of the FlexArmor shops, which I found a couple close by, each one had a pro and a con to it, one being a little closer but brand new, and the other one being a few hours farther away. But when I told them my story and what I wanted to do, they were right on board. They knew exactly everything that they, wanted to do, as well as, following the story and kind of the ideas that I had. So I decided to drive a few extra hours, went up to Washington to have the FlexArmor roof done there. And again, before I left, this is where I did all my solar prep. After finding the solar panels that I liked, which are 200-watt Call Sun bifacials, they actually perform really good. I did a test where I tested 5 different solar panels that I bought all with my own money, and these ones outperformed by far better than the other ones, including the Renogy Shadow Flux and more. So I then got some aluminum unistrut as well, ended up placing these on top of the roof and started to Tetris how I wanted everything done, made some marks, also got some paper, and basically just kind of built the system and taking notes along the way. That way when I did go up to the shop, I was pretty much ready to go when they were ready for me to start laying down the solar panels and more. Now during the prep, I ended up changing a couple things out, and one of them was adding a little bit more solar wire. So this is a great time to do it because it's really the only time to do it. So I ended up replacing an existing 10 gauge wire and added a new pair of 8 gauge wires. So now I have 3 pairs of 8 gauge wire, which allows me for a lot of different flexibility when it comes to my solar build. I then let the shop do all the prepping, and then they called me in to say, hey, we are now ready to lay the solar panels down and start marking everything with the anchors. Now these are special anchors that FlexArmor has, so it ended up, these are a little bit expensive, so the more you use, the more it's going to cost. But after getting everything laid out and then them spraying it, well, you can now see that all the anchors are in place, and these are pretty much permanent. So these are things you have to look at as well. Not to mention when it comes to your bathroom fan, because since they're going to be spraying all the way around a metal frame, you'll want to make sure you buy something that can be replaced if something happens, like the lid, or not to mention the internals like the fan underneath. Now this is something that I found from the RV Arizona expert guy. I forget his actual name, but he ended up noticing a fan that was a much better deal, and I can leave some information on that. But it's a good quality fan, comes with the remote, and it's much cheaper than the Max Air options, and honestly the quality looks the same. Now after the roof was sprayed and it looked great, well, that's where I ended up heading home. But before I got to the shop, I got 2 weigh tickets. I ended up getting a weigh ticket before I had everything done and another one after I had everything done. And I made sure to keep everything exactly the same. Nothing came out of the trailer and nothing was added to the trailer during this whole process. Whatever I took with me was exactly what I brought home. So I tried to make sure that everything in the trailer stayed exactly the same. I didn't even use the trailer. I stayed in a hotel. That way these numbers didn't get fudged. Now the only numbers that did get fudged was a little bit more on the gasoline side, or at least diesel. Now, when I went to go get my first weigh ticket, which is right here, hopefully you guys will be able to see that, but here's a shot of the ticket at 18,860 pounds, and that is before it was sprayed. Now, when I did get the truck and the trailer weighed, well, this is where I had about a half a tank of fuel. So this is where I kind of messed up, because the next time I got it weighed, I had 3/4 of a tank of fuel. And because I've owned this truck a long time, I know it really well. Each one of those marks ends up being roughly about 8 gallons. So if diesel weighs approximately 7 pounds per gallon, and if we do that by 8, well, then that's about 54. So we're just going to say, 50 pounds, kind of give or take. That way, if it's not exact, we'll just add 50 pounds to our total. And so now when it comes to the new weigh, I'll show you the new weigh ticket right here. So hopefully you guys can see that. We're now at 19,100 pounds. Now my trailer, as far as how much they sprayed, it was approximately 31 linear feet from the front of the cap all the way to the back. And so according to the owner, and after adding up all the weight of the sprayed material, because it can vary just a little bit, and so you might have the exact same trailer sprayed, but that trailer might weigh maybe 10 pounds more or even 10 pounds less through that whole 31 feet. But his estimated guess, with also all that additional hardware as far as just the anchors and the spray, he said roughly 195 pounds, give or take 5 pounds either direction. So 190 to 200, so we'll just leave it in the middle at about 195. So now, of course, after looking at both of those tickets, we have an additional weight of 240 pounds. But if we get rid of the 50 pounds of fuel, because I went from the half tank to the 3/4 tank, well, now we're looking right around 190 pounds or about 195, just like the owner said. So now we actually have a true weight of what this is actually added. Now, we added about roughly 200 pounds or a little bit less of distributed weight all the way through the RV, which that's actually really good because you're pushing down basically everywhere on it. It's not just in one spot. So again, evenly distributed. Now here's one of the points that you have to remember is that by adding 200 pounds, you have to subtract 200 pounds of your cargo capacity, because you don't want to overload, because anytime you add anything to the trailer, remember, if it can hold 1,000 pounds of weight, well, now you only get 800 pounds of weight. So that includes your water and everything else. Now, most of these fifth wheels, they can hold a decent amount of, cargo, gear, and water. So again, that's something that you have to consider if you're going to do a spray on roof like this. Going to be a little bit heavier than just having the liner replaced. Now, here's one of the things about having the liner replaced is that I drove 10 hours, got a hotel room, and it was still cheaper than having it locally done and having just a regular TPO liner put on. It was going to cost me around $13,000 depending on the shop, maybe a little less if I went with some other lower estimates. But after me driving all the way up there, it cost me around $12,600, but $12,000 for the roof, then some fuel, then a hotel cost. So if I didn't do all the extra solar prep as far as having all those anchors done and more, it would have been right around $11,000. And the good thing is that if this happens to get damaged, it's lifetime guaranteed. Another thing that is kind of interesting is that you can have insurance actually cover the replacement of your roof, and it's far more beneficial for them to have you go with a FlexArmor roof. Because it's lifetime guaranteed, you'll never call the insurance company again for a damaged roof unless obviously something big and catastrophic happens, like a tree falling on it or something actually spears right through the roof, which those are kind of some, God events or just very unlucky, unfortunate circumstances. But again, having an insurance company pay for it really kind of makes it a no-brainer in my opinion. And of course, with the warranty being lifetime guaranteed, not just for me, but for the next owner, it does kind of increase the value a little bit, but it may not be a whole lot. But even if you can get an extra $5,000 for that lifetime roof, well, you've at least covered maybe half of the expense. Okay, so a couple things I wish I knew sooner. One of them really is that I kind of wish I had done it sooner. I wish I had known about it sooner, and that way I wouldn't have to worry about, one, where I live, there's a lot of rain. So, you have to make sure you go up there constantly and reseal everything twice a year. It's a must. And not to mention, I also live where it's extremely hot, so it can shrink all of those sealants, and then it gets really cold, gets really hot again. So I live in extreme climates. So again, 2 times minimum of having to go up there and inspect everything. Not to mention, again, if you have a pebble or you're doing something on top of your roof and you poke a hole, you may not know it and the damage is already starting, and it could be catastrophic within 2 years or less. And one of the other things I wish I knew when it came to the skylight, I don't really need the skylight that happens to be in place. And I thought about, removing it, which now I wish I did. And the reason I don't need the skylight is because I have a bathroom fan that lets light in through the cover. And so there's already plenty of light in there. So that was one of the things I learned along the way after getting home and kind of looking. I was like, well, that is really your only weak point, is that skylight. Even though after spraying it, it kind of makes it a little bit more durable, less areas where it can get damaged. And you would really need a pretty heavy duty tree or either a crazy hailstorm to actually break the thing. So, and you could just go have that top part sprayed, you know, so that could be something cheap. But they also have a different type of skylight you can put on from FlexArmor, which is a more rectangular one, and the piece actually is replaceable. So if it gets damaged, and I'm not sure if it can be damaged because they show good demonstrations of how durable it is, and you can replace just that top piece. So for me, if I was to do it again, I'd definitely get rid of the skylight, because then I could have a flat roof, and then I could add really another solar panel. That's really all I wanted it for, is that, darn it, I could have added more solar right there. But if you are a really tall person, you might need that kind of indentation in the shower stall, that way your head doesn't hit the ceiling. I'm right about 5'11", and I don't have the issue. I still have maybe an inch or two above my head. Okay, so overall, I'm actually really satisfied with the FlexArmor Rv roof, so I'm not really worried about that. Now, when it comes to the solar portion, because I did add, obviously, more weight. Now, I did do a full solar install video, which you guys can check out. I'll leave a link down below, and I also discussed the weight of everything I used, because I used a low-profile aluminum unistrut, which is really light. I also use these new solar clamps, which makes it super easy to install solar, and not to mention just one solar panel. You can go with multiple different sizes of solar panels. It makes it super easy, and the clamps are cheap. But after adding everything up when it came to the solar panels, the racking, and also the wiring and more, well, you're adding in another additional about 295 pounds after everything was added. So now, after adding the solar and also adding the FlexArmor roof, well, we now have basically almost 500 pounds of additional weight that is scattered all the way across this, or evenly distributed anyways. So again, another consideration that you have to take, and if this is something you want to do, because again, I added weight, so that means my payload goes down. Okay, now that you know how much it costs and how much it weighs, is this something that you would still do? Would you go with a FlexArmor Rv option, or would you go with something a little bit different? I'm totally curious. Let me know down in the comments below. I hope this information helped you out. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I hope to see you guys in another video.